I don't know how many times Jesus says in the Gospels, what? Do not be afraid. You know?
Right.
It's like over and over again, fear not, all that kind of stuff. And I just I thought about like the fear that we all carry, but the people carry in their lives. And I'm not talking like a fraidy cat, like, you know, you're going to look around the corner and somebody's going to jump out at you, that kind of fear. I'm talking about like, I think people who sometimes are aggressive toward others, who are best defense. Anybody play sports? And at best, a medium athlete. At best, and that's fortunate. But I was a scrapper growing up, at least that, you know. Best defense is a good what?
Offense.
Yeah, so people I think who are so offensive, I don't know, it feels like it's a fear-based way of being in the world. Like, why does somebody attack another person verbally, physically? You know, you think of the crimes that are out there, like, what's going on there? On the surface, it certainly doesn't look like fear. But I'm wondering inside, on that spirit level, on the psyche, the emotional level, like the soul level, is it not fear that's like driving a person there, you know?
It can be really scary to think that there is someone that loves you so much and so unconditionally, right? So it can be really terrifying to go, oh, God loves me unconditionally. That's interesting because you don't get that with people in day-to-day life.
No.
So that can be scary.
Yep.
Yeah. It is interesting. Like my friends know that I come to St. Cecilia's, and even friends that express that something's wrong and that, or even ones that have good memories of being part of a church when they were growing up, if I invite them to come with me, they're just like, it's
Oh,
really
yeah?
weird. Like,
Yeah.
it's almost like they're afraid to come with me or something.
Really?
It's really strange.
I've had that same experience
Yeah,
with some of
yeah,
my
yeah.
friends too.
Well, that's because they're afraid they're not going to get out in time for supper. No, that's interesting, huh? Yeah, you wonder what people's experiences have been. And again, to go back to what I was just saying, like when somebody does like bad stuff or says really painful stuff to other people, or you wonder what fear is in there that's kind of propelling us to not show up, not go for it, or to do the things that we do in life, you know? And then I think, when I think of Jesus, like saying, do not be afraid, it's like all the challenges that you and I have in life. There are so many people right now in the parish who, this past week has just been almost overwhelming with folks who, you know, been in the hospital, you know, hospice, have just had different surgeries or different heavy things going on. You know, or even losing loved ones, you know, losing a child, losing a parent or a spouse, like a sibling. It's heavy duty stuff. And, you know, there are all kinds of fears that come with that. And, you know, I never hear Jesus coming in with a nice fast, you know, fear not, don't be afraid type of deal. I hear him saying like, hey, I'm with you, man. Like, do not be afraid. And again, it goes back to what we were talking about earlier, of like knowing that we're just moving through. And, you know, the more we look at that fear of dying or what's next, or take that last breath, you know, what's going to be next, like instead of fearing that, hearing his words, don't be afraid, I'm with you, you know, till the end of the age, whatever. Does that somehow lessen our anxieties? Does that start to quell our offensiveness, you know, and being offensive toward other people, because we're in touch with our own stuff that's inside a little bit more, you know? I just think it's so interesting. I think that's all part of the spiritual journey, you know, getting in touch with our fears. I don't know. I would never say like I was a fear-based kid growing up, but you know, you have your own little, you know, worries and insecurities or big ones and anxieties and fears. You know, I remember in the old sacramentary, I would use these words, you know, and deliver us from all worry, fear, and anxiety, you know, and all that stuff that, again, I think it paralyzes us. And Jesus is like, how many people did he literally unparalyze, you know, and set free? And the same thing with the fears that paralyze us inside. He just wants to free us, be free, you know, rise up again, you know. But life has its way of doing that too.
Could be fear of forgiveness too. You know, I hear a lot of people saying, I've done all of these things in my life, and so I can never be forgiven.
Oh.
Yeah, right.
Man, yeah. Like, what does that mean?
Mm-hmm.
To like allow that in.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, I've done the worst thing possible, whatever that might be in one's mind, and
Mhm.
you know, does this mean I just, you know, I come sliding into home plate safe, you know?
Right.
Meanwhile,
Yeah,
I've lived my life this way, and other people have tried to do the right thing. I don't know, like, I don't have any answers for that, how God's justice works out, but you know what I am trusting in? The current CEO of this organization, Pope Francis. I love this man. He's invigorated me, and I think all of us on so many levels. Like, he's energized. But what does he do? He's always talking about mercy. Like, and I don't want to be like, I don't want to presume anything about God, be presumptuous. Like, no sweat, I can do all these things. I know I'll get the quick absolution and be forgiven.
Right.
No, it presupposes we're all trying to do the right thing, right?
Right.
But that mercy, you know what it does for me? It neutralizes any fears, worries, anxiety, neuroses, whatever. You know what I mean? Like the stuff that makes mercy. Jesus is about mercy for so many people. You know. I don't know. Do you guys ever think about that kind of stuff? And does that propel us to kind of walk in those ways?
Well, that makes a lot of sense.
I'm gonna cut up the cantaloupe, and I got a great thing. By the way, cantaloupe, prosciutto.
Oh,
That's
wow.
perfect.
Nice.
And a little beautiful Pugliese olive oil
Oh,
from Puglia.
Oh,
It's
wow.
great. All right.
Sounds great. Sounds great.
It'll be good. No, keep talking. Sorry.
No, I was just thinking how if fear is an obstacle to God or faith or the church, then mercy could be sort of an antidote to
It
that
is.
fear, you know,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's really nice.
I remember there's it's not the exact translation, but it's something like, fear is useless. What is needed is trust, you know, or love, you know, and it's like, or perfect love casts out fear. And like, I used to try to figure that out. How does love and fear interact? What do you mean by that kind of stuff? The fears that so many people have in life, I think about it like with addiction.
Mm-hmm.
And this might be a big leap, but kind of this business of, if we don't go there, whatever the addictive behavior is or the substance is that kind of gets burned into our neural pathways, you know, habits and all that kind of stuff in the brain. Like, if we don't go there, a friend of mine said to me, where do you go?
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, what? What do you mean? So if you don't go there, you know, again, whatever the behavior or the substance is, where do you go? Like, what pushes us and propels us to go into these places? And I'm wondering, on some level, just wondering, is fear a part of that? Like, you know, it's too uncomfortable to stay here in this place, or I'm feeling lonely, hungry, angry, tired. You know, the whole HALT acronym. I didn't do it in the right order, but like, you know, or I'm unfulfilled, or there's this emptiness inside of me, and so we fill it with all this stuff that's less than healthy, huh? And then these pathways, you know, are well trodden after a while, right? And I wonder about, like, does fear play a part in that? I wouldn't necessarily think that right away. Just kind of wonder about that once in a while, you know.
That makes a lot of sense.
And I think it goes to understanding what it means to be forgiven too, and how, you know, Jesus can forgive, you know, because back in the day it used to be, you know, say two, you know, people would think, say two, you know, Hail Marys and you're good to go, right? So that's what people think. And they don't really understand what it means to be forgiven in church.
How many people back in the day? Look at Peter on the boat. You know, when the storm came about. Like, again, it's very convenient to say, but look at the storms that go on in our own lives. You know, again, you get the diagnosis, or you got a kid that starts going in a different direction than you ever want to hope, or that trusted person in the relationship ruptures. You know, the trust. You know, or the like that all induces fear. What do we do with that? You know, I'm always encouraging myself and others, like, call on the Spirit, man. Bring the Spirit into those places. Because I used to try to do it alone, or you just clam up and close up, and it's like, no, come Holy Spirit, man. Whatever our image of the Spirit of God is. It's this beneficent, benevolent energy of goodness and love that I believe is of God, is of Jesus, is of the Spirit, to come into these places, you know. And yet most of us, no, I'm going to go it alone. I'm going to tough it out. and it's a lonely place to be at times.
Yeah,
Mhm.
for sure.
You know, I saw this special last night. I don't know if you guys saw it on Nightline.
Oh yeah, on the Recovery High School.
On Recovery High School, like
yeah.
an addiction. And at the end, I was sitting there, I was just kind of watching those kids. You know, these are like high school age kids, and maybe a little older. And I thought, man, what's going on in their minds? Like, what fears did they have? Where does spirituality? Not even religion right now.
Right.
You know, spirituality has a religious expression,
Mhm.
and it plays out in all these different ways. You know, and being Christians, being Catholic Christians. You know, we name it Jesus, God,
Mhm.
Holy Spirit,
Right.
all this, and I wonder where spirituality plays a role in their lives, in their healing, filling that hole, neutralizing those fears that we all
Yeah.
have.
Mhm.
You guys ever think about that kind of stuff?
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's just whether or not, I mean, it's easier for us, I think, because we're coming to church regularly, but what's it like for people who aren't or who are disconnected
Right.
from church? So think
Right.
about that.
Yeah. And for how many people has church been?
Right, a barrier. itself,
Barrier.
right?
Exactly.
Yeah,
Negative
yeah.
experience.
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
Right.
You're gonna love this. It's really, I like that's what I love about St. Cecilia. You know, it's a real opportunity to kind of just come in, gather with the community, gather at the table, break bread like Jesus did 2,000 years ago, and said, you know, keep doing this, do this in memory of me,
Yeah.
Right.
and you know, break open the Word. There's something to it, and then like it gets into it. It's like when you watch a TV show or you listen to music, it kind of gets in, and you know, you can say all those lyrics and sing it or know these lines. And I think hearing the stuff that goes on in the liturgy can have the same effect, and it can start to reduce fears, all the things that kind of keep us from, you know, living life to the fullest.